Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Please subscribe, like, share, comment and turn on your notification bell. Thank you. So today's video is going to be a tutorial video. I'll be showing you guys how I made this beautiful top from scratch. If this is something you're interested in, let's get right into this video. Thank you. I'm rolling my shoulder line. Thereafter, I'm going to take my shoulder to bust, shoulder to under bust, shoulder to waist, and then my shoulder to hip measurement. I'll be doing that on other parts of the paper in order to draw a straight line on the paper. So this is just what I'm doing now. I'll be rolling my bust line, under bust line, my waistline, thereafter my hip line. After that, just label your lines in order to know which line is which and not to confuse yourself and place the wrong measurement on each line. So that's my bust, under bust, waist and hip. Thereafter, I'll be inputting my shoulder measurement, which is 7.5. That's 15 divided by 2, 7.5. After that, I'll be coming up by 2 inches from my bust line in order to get my chest line. So just measure 2 inches and draw a straight line. That will be your chest line. I'll be coming down my shoulder line by 1 inch. After that, I'll be marking 3 inches on my shoulder line and 3 inches down my shoulder line in order to get my neck measurement or my neck curve. So I'm just using my curved ruler to curve it out. Thereafter, I'll be using my straight ruler to join my 3 inches mark and my shoulder slope and the 1 inch shoulder slope. So I'll be measuring the same 7.5 on my chest line and rolling it down. Then I go up by 3 inches on my armhole line. Thereafter, you come in by 0.5 inches in order to get your armhole curve. So I'm just using my curved ruler to do this. If you don't have a curved ruler, you can use your free hand, but just make sure you're rolling it, you're curving it out well. So I'm taking my nipple to nipple measurements. My nipple to nipple is 8 inches. 8 inches divided by 2 is 4 inches. So I'm just marking 4 inches on my bust, under bust, waist, and hip line. Make sure your points are matching, like mine didn't match, so I have to retake it. So just roll it down. So now I'll be taking my dart intake, which is 0.7 inches from the waist from both sides of my straight line. So I took 0.7, 0.7 at the other side, which is 1.5 altogether. Then I'm coming down my bust line by 1 inch and I'll be rolling it down to my 0.7 I took on each side. So basically that's just what I'm doing currently. Then you roll the line to your hip line also. So basically this is just a basic bodice pattern that I'm drafting out. So if you don't know how to make a basic bodice pattern, this is just an example. So I'll be marking a curve from my 3 inches on my armhole to my bust point. I'll be coming back to this princess dart later in this video. I just drew the line and I left it. So now I'll be marking my bust measurement, which is 8.5. My bust is 34 divided by 4, which is 8.5. So I've already marked that out already. Then I'm going to my waist, which is 28 divided by 4. Don't forget to impute your dart that you measure. That's plus 1.5. So anything you get for your waist plus your dart intake. So plus 1.5, it will be 8.5. So I'm just going to measure my 8.5 on my waist. Then I'm going to rule it down. So the next thing is taking your under bust measurement. My under bust is 29.5 divided by 4, which is 7.3. So I'll be marking the 7.3 on my under bust. Then whatever inches is remaining, I'll be using that to tighten my under bust. So I have 1.2 inches left. That bust, I'm putting 0.2 to the center front and 1 inch to the side front. Thereafter, I'm using my curved ruler. So now I'm using my ruler to mark it down to my waist. Just mark the point down to your waist. And basically that's it. Now I'm coming back to my princess dart. I came down my 3 inches point by 1 inch, and I'm using my curved ruler to curve it out also. To curve it to your bust point. Thereafter, draw a straight line out of the 1 inch that you came in and add an additional 1 inch so that you won't have shortage when joining your pattern pieces together. So basically that's the reason for this new armhole. So make sure it's curved, is aligned with your chest line. So that's it. I'm trying to highlight it to make you see it more. So now I want to draw my triangular design. I hope you get what I'm saying. So I'm just coming down by 5.5 inches, which I later came down by 6 inches later on in this video. So you can just come down by 6 inches in yours. So I'm marking out my hip measurement in order to get my hip curve. Thereafter, I came down by 1.5 inches, which I later changed to 1 inch. Then I ruled it down to my 6 inches line to get. See, I later changed it to 6 inches. Then I'm ruling the 1 inch to the 6 inches. I misplaced the video where I was cutting my pattern pieces, but here is my cut pattern. I just gummed them together in order to see how they look like when I join them together on my fabric. I like doing this in order to prevent any error on the fabric, so I just see any error I have on my pattern. So basically this is me joining them together, and now I'm going to cut it out. So when I joined my pattern pieces together, I noticed there was a shortage on my pattern. This is why I love joining my pattern pieces together before I cut them on my fabric, because I will notice where there's a shortage. So here is me trying to open up my pattern pieces. Please be careful if you are going to do this so you won't tear your paper or tear your pattern, because I used a sellotape, so you can, so just be careful. Now I'm drafting out my back pattern. This is me drafting out my zipper allowance. So I took 1 inch from the tip of my fabric to where I'm lining, where I'm marking. Here is me drafting out my shoulder line. After that, I'll be taking my shoulder to bust, shoulder to waist, and shoulder to length of my back. After, I'm going to be adding 1 inch allowance. So I'll be doing that at the other side of the paper so that I'll be able to rule a straight line. So I'm rolling a straight line on my bust, waist, that's the length of my back, then my back allowance. So now I'm coming up by 2 inches also to measure my chest line at the back. So this chest line will determine where my armhole will stop. I'm measuring my 7.5 shoulder measurement, then my 3 inches neck width and 2 inches depth. So I'm just going to be curving it out. Thereafter, I'll be coming down by 1 inch on my shoulder line. That is going to be my shoulder slope. Our shoulders are not straight, so we need to come down by 1 inch. So after that, I'll be taking my shoulder measurement on my chest line also to determine my armhole. So between those lines, this line, I'll be coming to the middle of the line, which is 3.5. I'll be curving it down to my chest line with my curved ruler. So now I'm going to be taking my nipple to nipple measurements, which is 4 inches. I'm going to be measuring it on my waist also. So rule it down and take your dart allowance, which is 0.75 on 2 inches. It's not compulsory you use 0.75. You can also use half an inch, but I decided to use 0.75. So now I'll just be taking my bust measurement, which is 8.5. Then my waist, don't forget to add your dart intake. So mine is still 8.5 altogether. So I'll be rolling it up. I went ahead to mark my hip line. So I'm so sorry you can't see that because of how I placed my camera. So I just measured my hip measurement and rolled it up to my waist. So here's me just labeling my lines so that you'll be able to know which is which. So now, to prevent my back from bulging out, I'm going in by half an inch from my original zip allowance, and from that half an inch I'm going in by 1 inch. So I'm going to create a new zip line. So I'll be going up by 1 inch also from my allowance from the waist side up to the length of my top. So I'm just eradicating 1 inch on this my back pattern to also prevent bulge from my back. So we are doing it in two ways. We are going up on the pattern and we are going into the pattern, if you understand what I'm trying to say, what I mean. So now I'm done with my back pattern. This is everything. I'm just adding my sewing allowance. Please don't forget to add your sewing allowance. It is very, very important. So I'm just adding my sewing allowance. I'm basically using my pink marker to mark it out so that you'll be able to see what I've done and what I am cutting out. So all those parts my pink marker is on, I'm going to trim them out. I love putting this curved part on my outfit because it gives my back a nice look that I love. It's not compulsory, but I just love doing it. So now we're cutting into the pattern. Just be careful when cutting your pattern so you won't cut where you're not meant to cut. So now I've cut out my pattern pieces with my fabric. Don't forget to add your 0.5 inches on your fabric when you cut it out with your pattern. This is what you're going to use to stitch them together, so please don't forget to do that. I cut my front piece on fold. I cut 2 pieces of each. Now this is my sleeve. I'm going to make a puffy sleeve, so I cut my sleeve very big. I'll be using an elastic at the tip and I'll be folding them a little. I also cut 2 pieces of my sleeves together. So this is my lining. I've cut out my lining also with my pattern pieces, so don't forget to cut your lining. Your lining is very important. So now I've joined my front piece together. I ironed my wording on my front piece in order to make it padded and to make my triangular design stand. So I ironed my wording on it. As you can see, it's looking nice. I'm just going to trim out those excesses on the sleeves. This is my back and this is how it's looking like now. So you can see what we did at the back, that triangular part, and how it went up. It will prevent the zip from bulging. So this is just my front. I've lined it already. You can see how it's looking beautiful. So I've lined it. Just turn the right sides together and sew the neck and sew it down. Don't forget to top stitch your neck and turn it over. So you're going to achieve this when you do that. Same thing for my back, same thing I did for my back. So as you can see how it's looking pretty, looking so lovely. I love it already. So when I fix in my zipper, it's going to prevent my back from bulging, and I'm going to show you guys how it looks like at the end of the day. So now I've fixed my zipper on my back. I've joined it with my front piece, and this is how it's looking like. Looking beautiful. I joined my shoulders together. I think I will have to explain how I joined my shoulders later on because I forgot to do that in this video. But I joined my shoulders together. I turned them inside out. I really don't know how to explain that, but I'll try to explain it in another video. So this is how it's looking now. I'm yet to attach my sleeves, so let's see how it looks like with my sleeves attached. So I've attached my sleeves already. I gathered it at the edge, and I also put my elastic, which made it more gathered. So now it's looking puffy. So this is it on me, and it looks super beautiful in this outfit. I went ahead to add eyelets on the neck, in front of the neck, and this is how it's looking. This is my back. You can see it's not bulging at the back, like it's not folding, it's just straight. I went ahead to add eyelets in front of the neck. You can see it. I went ahead to gather my sleeves with needle and thread, so you can see it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, what are you waiting for? Kindly hit the subscription button and subscribe to this channel. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and turn on your notification bells. Thank you. See you in my next video.
Goes up and it goes down. I know my mom taught me